Here we go. Which song is currently stuck in your head?
Yeah. This is crazy. I've been, and everybody's going to go straight to their phone.
Not me.
Miles Minnick, and it is called Wild Summer. And it's probably a song you've never heard of, but he's a Christian rapper, apparently. And I was checking out the Indie Tribe like YouTube channel, and it came up, and I was like, dude, and now it's like it's living in my head. So it's it's like a brain worm, that one. But yeah. You done messed up now is the chorus. And the video is pretty awesome. Like they throw like a big party and like have all these people come, and they're like at one point they're on this roof of a building, and they're like rapping from the roof of a building, like down to people. And anyway, it's a fun song. But yeah, I was like, well, check it out. And then
now it's stuck in your head.
Now it's stuck in my head.
Okay.
So, yeah. Wild Summer. Miles Minnick.
What you got over there, Eric?
He's writing stuff down.
What's bouncing in your head right now?
Dude, so many songs.
So many. I don't think that was the question.
I know.
Classic Eric. He's like, I hear your question. I'm just going to up the ante.
I'm sorry.
I raise you 5 answers.
The song that's going through my head right now, I'm like, no, I'm not saying it out loud.
Wow.
Yeah.
The other one is Wolves of the Gate's got a new album coming out, I think this week.
Oh, man.
And they have a bunch of covers, and they did Pardon Me by Incubus is one of the covers. And so it's pretty rad.
That's awesome.
Yes.
I love cover albums.
Dude.
I remember back in the day, MXPX on the cover, and like that was a great album. And
Yes.
just a lot of good cover. Project 86 had a great cover album, and so there's a lot of been.
Dude, I want to check that out.
Yeah, Project 86 cover album.
Okay.
Yeah, good stuff.
Song in my head right now is Morning. It's every morning that I wake up now. Generally, I go work out, and I've been listening.
Some mornings
to,
you don't wake up.
I know.
That's what you're saying.
I know.
Some mornings.
You sleep till
I
noon.
just stay asleep.
Yeah.
No, when I wake up, I go work out. I've been listening to Post Malone's new record, Austin, and Morning is one of the songs on there, and it's just it sounds like this upbeat, like fun song. But then when you like listen to it, you realize he's basically saying like, man, like I don't want to make it to the morning because I realize everything's fake.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Pretty deep album.
it is.
The whole album's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's what I've been listening to the last few times I've worked out, and that song's been stuck in my head. So,
I have a lackluster answer because I haven't been listening to music for the past week. So
You want some of mine too?
I don't have.
New Week Came As
I
Romans
don't have
album
anything
is
in my head
really
right
good.
now musically.
Okay.
What about church stuff? Like, since you're a worship pastor,
Barbie Girl.
Yeah, nothing's in my head. I haven't got it'll. That'll
That's
start
wrong.
tomorrow. I obviously I pick songs and stuff, but that'll start tomorrow when I process and start thinking and playing through the songs and stuff. But right now, like it's been, I was on vacation and there was nothing I wasn't listening to. My truck radio is off. Like I've just been enjoying peace and quiet. So there's literally not a song in my head, that's unique. Like normally there's something, but
I like how you try to do that, the Barbie Girl, and just kind of plan it there, and then that's the thing.
Yeah,
It
that's
wasn't-
the earworm that
it
gets
didn't
taken.
pick up.
But
Sorry.
I heard it.
I'll tell you how you do it. You do it this way. You do it real subtle. Like you're like, what's that song from the Lego movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I blanked it out, and then you brought it back. So I want to say thanks.
that's
Everything
good.
is awesome. Yeah.
Everything is awesome. Yeah, there we
that's
go.
It. That's the song.
And then
I always
that gets
think,
taken,
I always think Beastie Boys. Girls.
Where's my pants? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Honey, where's my... That's okay.
On that note, welcome to the podcast.
Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive. Once they were few, now they are many. Today we're talking about superheroes, so join us as we go up, up, and away.
Nice.
All right, superheroes.
Well read.
Thank you. That's my superpower.
I couldn't have helped but to, like in the intro, the line it's just once were there few and now there are many. It's like reminds me of Legion. I'm like, oh gosh, which happens. That is a
many.
villain. It's a super villain called
Yeah.
Legion, and he's based off of exactly what you think he's based off of.
Demons. Yep.
There's a superhero named Legion as well. Well, he's more of an anti-hero, but he's a hero.
If you're a hero of any, or if you were in the Superverse, I'll call it that.
The Superverse.
Superverse. If you were in the Superverse and your name has Legion in it, you probably aren't fully good.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah.
Safe bet. Safe bet.
I want to say though, with what's happening with the superhero movies now is pretty rad. Because there was a time when we were all young, and I'm sure I know that we've all had conversations with our friends, like if they made a movie about X-Men, who would play Wolverine and who would play, and you're kind of geeking out about the possibility of that ever happening.
Yeah.
And then one day it did, and that just kind of opened up the floodgate, and it was like everybody that was reading comic books when we were kids grew up, and now they're making movies.
Yeah, which is crazy. I mean, anybody who's listening to the podcast and you're young, there was a time where there were no superhero movies.
There were, but they were just so far.
Really bad.
And they were bad.
Dolph Lundgren as the Punisher.
The Punisher. Yeah.
No special. Well,
sorry, Dolph.
there were special effects. There was no VFX. It wasn't digital. It was all
practical.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was not great. So like you guys that are younger living in this era of phenomenal superhero adaptations of comics is really cool. So
yeah,
you're probably thinking it's super saturated.
We geek out because we're getting stuff that like literally looks like a comic book page. So it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, we're talking about superheroes today.
Yeah.
Superheroes.
Yeah.
If you didn't know,
Maybe some supervillains.
that might be mentioned a few times in this podcast. So if you have adverse reactions to the mentioning of super people,
Yeah.
just a
My
warning.
my daughter said, I probably won't listen to that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Understandable. It's not for everybody.
It's not for everybody.
Why are you ostracizing so much
But
of your
go
audience?
ahead and smash that like button.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah, there you go.
Hulk smash that like.
Oh, there we go. Nice.
Nice.
Wow. Yeah.
Segue.
Whoa.
No.
Segue.
All right.
That's called.
There we
pun.
go.
Yeah.
First question.
No wonder he's bad at segues. He doesn't know what they are.
That's the whole point. Like, that is the whole point of everything that happened before. I'm like, I'm doing this awful on purpose because there's nothing changing the direction of where we're supposed to be going.
We just go wherever the wind takes us, boys.
All right.
So
Lee.
who is your favorite superhero?
That's too hard.
Let's go around the horn here.
around the horn.
Easy answer.
Really, you have that? You have like a.
Let's start with Eric.
My favorite superhero. I know it's debatable, and I know it's going to happen when I say it, but my favorite superhero is Batman.
Yeah, I knew it was coming.
/ Wolverine. So I guess that's two different comic book universes. So
Yeah,
the
you can do that.
DC universe, my favorite superhero is Batman. And yes, I understand his
He's super smart.
superpower is being a billionaire.
Yeah.
He's a hero.
But it's cool what he
Rich.
does with that. And then in the Marvel universe, my favorite superhero has always been Wolverine.
Yeah.
Pretty rad with the claws and being able to heal and just gruff and
Yeah,
Yeah.
those are solid.
Don't care.
Kind of.
attitude.
Yeah, similar. I can see why you like both of them. They've got the same underlining gruffness. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see that.
They're manly.
It's funny because those are the two that I was going back and forth on.
Really?
Yeah, and mostly for me, like Batman, because Batman is the first one I remember, right? Like that's the first,
right?
yeah, superhero that I remember at all. I remember collecting comics and stuff, but I don't remember them. But I remember Batman. So this is always kind of been there. I like the story. I like, the feel of it. But then, Wolverine was one of those that I was like, oh, this just it kind of fits. Like, I like the story of it. But if I'm honest, it's not a superhero. But Thanos has always been like the one that I've gone towards. I don't know. I just see his point
For
of view
real?
of like, just get rid of half of them. Like,
Wow.
But really, wasn't that more of a? Now we're down to deep dive geeking.
no, that's more of the
Wasn't that-
MCU.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but wasn't his? I don't know. It's there. I know the movies portrayed that whole get rid of
The
half
movies
of.
completely changed it.
Yeah, but wasn't that like an offering of
It was to
love
Death.
to Lady Death? You know
Yes,
what I'm saying?
Yeah, he was trying to get Death's attention,
Yeah.
and so
So-
he just killed as many as he could,
Right.
and offered it and said, "Hey, now do you notice me?"
But he lost the
Wow.
he lost
What a way
the-
to get a lady.
he lost the challenge to Deadpool. He got Lady Death instead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
But,
the
yeah.
MCU did mess up that storyline because they wanted to make him appealing as a villain and not just a villain. They wanted to make I could see his point of view.
Relatable.
So they made
Yeah.
it they made it like, oh, I did this for the greater good because our entire universe was going to die because of overpopulation or something like that. And
Which,
so that was his point of view. And so they wanted something that there are people out there that could possibly be like, yeah, I see where he's coming from. But no, but in the comic books, it was pure selfish greed, evil. Like that's all.
So on that note, since there is a difference between the comic book and the movie, I do feel like, as far as the cinematic universe is concerned, that they did a good job pulling in the audience with the way they told that
it wasn't boring
rendition of the story.
It wasn't boring because it had a new twist, and so that was appreciated.
Can you imagine the other way?
Yeah.
You're just like, I'm going to kill as many people as possible so I can date death.
That's right. So it's like they're going to press this lady.
Yeah, I don't think that one's going to play well with the
simping a little
sub-teen
bit there,
crowd.
That's a different demographic.
Yeah.
I know.
Dark.
We took a rabbit trail because we're supposed to be talking about our favorite heroes. But
sorry, I derailed it.
It's a very interesting little subject because you have the idea of a comic book is that you can go for many, many issues and to build that story and give it more depth so that it doesn't seem as silly as I just like this woman who's Lady Death and I'm going to do this thing.
Right.
It seems silly like that. But when you read the very long 10 issues it took to get to that point.
Oh, this makes sense.
It's a lot more because there's stuff from Thanos' childhood and she taunts him and this is all this whole stuff.
Oh, yeah.
She's manipulative.
But
He's got
seriously,
daddy
isn't
issues
that
or
true
mommy
of
issues or whatever.
every comic book story, the story, if you read it in the premise, let's get the bullet points on this and let's boil it down to a paragraph. It's like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
And then,
because if we're being honest, I mean, comics are
like
they're soap operas. I mean, that's what it is, right? Like, it's I mean, it's a telenovela.
Super powered soap operas.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense. But I don't think they're supposed to make sense. They're just supposed to be fun.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Speaking of fun,
so
my favorite superhero.
You're still you go ahead.
Segue.
Yeah. Speaking of fun,
is that your superpower? By the way,
yes, it is.
Did everybody go? Did everybody say
no,
okay?
he's,
It's just you two. I'm about to go right now.
Let's
do this. Everybody buckle up.
Fast.
Buckle up.
That's what a segue is, Eric.
He
said,
I wrote one here.
yes,
Go
I'm
ahead.
with you on that.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So I have
MCU
bounced
for
around for years. I know. Okay, my nephew is listening, and we have a common ground. We both really love the Flash, and for years, the Flash was my top superhero. I love the Flash, and
then the movie came out.
that didn't help. But the reason why I've leaned more
Michael
towards
Keaton again.
Spider-Man over the years, because they've been pretty equal. I fell in love with the Flash the way he was in the Golden Age. I love that writing, that style. I liked the animated Justice League series and what they did with Wally West in that one.
Yeah.
That's what I loved. And the Flash has outgrown that and become something different. And they made it too dark and dramatic.
Yeah.
The Flash was always just the fun
Was that what that was?
speedster. He was supposed to be fun, goofy, a quip, he had all this stuff to say. And that's what Spider-Man is. And the cool thing about Spider-Man for me that I loved as a kid is anybody can be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Anybody. Like you just put on a mask and you are that character. There's so many variations of Spider-Man. There's, girls, guys, there's older, younger, there's pigs. I mean, literally anything can be Spider-Man. And I love that. And so over the years, instead of him getting darker and moodier and weirder, it just got better. And I've fallen more in love with that character. And so now I'm all in. Like Spider-Man is definitely my number one right now.
Yeah. I'm good with that. Yeah, if I was talking MCU, I'd think Spider-Man's right up there for me. And then on the DC side, it's definitely got to be Batman. All day. I remember I was on a mission trip in England in high school, and I almost got kicked off the trip because I so wanted to go see, this dates me here, but the
1989 called.
second Batman movie came out. With
Batman Returns.
With Keaton?
With the Penguin and
Returns.
Batman Returns.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I am in Piccadilly Circus, and there are ads for it everywhere. And I so wanted to go, but that was against the rules. You couldn't go see a movie. And I was like, oh, it was killing me. So instead, I stood for about an hour in a comic book store, and read the graphic novel of The Dark Knight.
Yes, I have.
And I just read the whole thing while I stood there in this comic book store. I was like, I'm going to get my Batman fix one way or the other.
Fix.
I'm actually kind of surprised none of the workers like walked over and were like, "Hey, man, you got to buy that."
They were kind of that way, but it was also I was just a punk kid, high school kid. So from America.
Yeah, that's one of the best issues ever of Batman, the Dark Knight series. I own that graphic novel. I actually own 2, and I gave one away because I was like, "You have to read this." So
yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Well, we talked favorite.
Yeah.
What's the other end? What's your least favorite? Who do you love
Least
to loathe?
favorite. Come on, man.
Who do you loathe?
I think we're all Toad. Yeah.
It's Darth Maul.
Howard the Duck shows up. I mean, come on. It's
Man, when I was a
classic,
kid,
man.
you know how many times I watched
I love
Howard the
Plastic
Duck
Man.
as a
The
kid?
movie?
I really
Oh
do.
yeah.
Yes.
And now,
yes.
Like if I try to watch it now, I'm like, this
No,
is
Can't.
just poke your eyes out with a hot poker
Can't.
for sure.
Howard the Duck, man.
Ugh.
I also don't like. I know this sounds weird, but in the superhero universe, I don't like Hercules.
Yeah,
I don't think
he's a
it,
jerk.
he doesn't
Yeah,
have a
he's a
place,
jerk in
and
it.
he is
Yeah.
a jerk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't like him. I don't think he
Did you
fits.
see the
and he's pointless compared to all the other.
the new Thor movie is Thor and Hercules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to
Yeah.
be great.
Oh, the new
who
don't.
knows? Who
Yeah.
knows?
Screaming goats.
Duh.
Talk about
Okay.
That last
Have
Thor
we
movie
scraped
was
the
just
bottom
a
of the
running
barrel?
fart joke that
yes, it
wouldn't
was.
go away.
It was so bad.
It's Boar and Thunder is what I called it.
Yes, that was nice.
It
to
had,
Nice.
it had potential if they would have played more with the villain because they had a great villain.
Christian Bale was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
and
He was amazing.
They,
Yeah.
they
His part was awesome.
yeah. Again,
Love
they
Christian
leaned too hard on the comedy, and I think that ruined it. But
Yeah.
because
So
that's MCU's major problem. Actually, often they will waste the villain.
yeah, true.
Yeah, at least that's my
I
take on
hadn't
it.
thought about that.
If you have watched Love and Thunder and you enjoyed it, you're probably not that big into comic books and superheroes in general. But if you didn't like it,
You're being
Unsubscribe.
so political. I was actually I was right there with you. I was like,
That's
just go
not
ahead
where I
and
was going with
subscribe.
that.
Just say we're
No.
done.
Yeah.
And,
Thank you.
no,
I
'cause-
was thinking the whole
Yeah,
time.
I mean, we're
No,
all
just
thinking it.
I
Just like,
was-
if you love that movie, we're good. Yeah. See you later.
I was thinking like I know some people who enjoyed it.
Via
and
con
after
Dios.
talking to them, they're not comic book people. They were just
Yeah.
like, "Oh, it was a fun, silly movie," and I was like, "Yeah, it wasn't supposed to be."
Yeah.
It was one of. In fact, that movie is entirely based off of one of the darkest issues of Thor's comics ever. Like,
Yeah.
like it literally circles around of darkness, who's killing gods and then stealing children. To
Yeah.
it's
It's
horrifying.
like,
and they're like, "How do we make this movie and not make it depressing?" And they're like, "Oh, let's just slapstick it."
Yeah. Fart jokes and screaming
Yeah.
goats.
Oh my god,
So weird.
And then bringing in Hercules and all that mess was just like that. That
Yeah.
I know we're on least
There's
favorite
so many-
superhero, but that was a very bad movie.
So many
Yeah.
ruining
No,
aspects.
that's-
So least favorite superhero movie I think is what we just covered.
Yeah. But,
Yeah.
And Toad.
No.
Okay,
and
I didn't say
Howard
Toad.
the
that
Duck.
route, it
Howard
works
the Duck.
perfect. It works perfect for mine. If we're gonna go to least favorite comic book movie, I'll go Captain Marvel.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I
yeah.
mean,
I didn't
I
like
see where
Captain
you're
Marvel.
going with that.
Yeah.
You don't like the person playing the character in this.
you're
MCU.
sexist.
No. My
It's
problem-
because she's a woman.
My problem with
Admit
Captain
it.
Marvel wasn't even Captain Marvel. It was Fury. That was my big problem.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes.
They completely ruined. They neutered Fury. So here's my issue.
Unless Fury was not actually Fury.
Have y'all watched Secret
Yeah, it's
Invasion?
kinda-
There
No.
you go. Could be.
So
Could be.
that's hugely possible, which makes sense. But I'm sorry. Here's my issue. Well, I got a lot of issues, but this is the one I want to talk about right now.
Buckle up, guys.
All right,
Yeah.
here we go.
Bold. Go ahead.
It's bald. It's definitely what it is.
That's what it is.
So I feel like for 10 years they did a great job building the cinematic Marvel universe,
Yes.
right? And
starting with Iron Man.
yes, starting with Iron Man, and we're ending with Endgame, so it's not just a clever name. So not ending. I know there's more after that, but like the culmination of all the stories that they wove together so well ended with Endgame. But then it was like, here is this one person we're gonna throw in 10 minutes before the end of this whole story, and make him the
she's-
most powerful.
Yeah.
and then Nick Fury, who has been
Yeah.
this whole time, like what you said, Jason.
Preach,
So
brother. Preach.
you bring all that to the table, and it's It's goofy, doesn't fit. It's like you're not supposed to be in this party.
And please help me understand. Like, she's more powerful than Thanos. And what made her super again? Because she was exposed to an Infinity Stone. One. It's like what? I'm sorry. What?
Energy thing.
It did not make sense.
No.
I think what the heck is going on over there? We just lost a camera.
Camera just went off.
Nice.
The rest of this podcast, if you're watching,
Yeah.
will be on 2 cameras.
Yeah.
This camera.
Side by side.
And that camera.
Yeah. Well, so as we talked about that, you talked about like weaving these stories together over 10 years, right? And I said this a little while ago, MCU keeps wasting their villains.
Yep.
That's why Thanos works. Like Thanos was built and like you have a story over 10 years of like this villain.
Right.
And so like he works really well with that story. Whereas all these other ones are, one-offs and then they're gone. And in fact, they can't use them again the way they did it unless they, reboot or whatever.
Right.
Which is terrible.
All those villains were used to basically, I don't want to say prop up, but build up or expand the character of the heroes that were part of that story.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
One of my favorite throwaway villains they just put in the movie for I don't know what, but Ajax.
Oh yeah.
That's my favorite. Just like, all right, he's gone.
He's a
they're like, who was that?
Who's that?
All right. Well, let's keep moving here. I think we got some least favorite things going, but what about
Toad sucks.
Toad?
Take it real world. Real world.
Yeah, let's take it real world. So we're talking about what have you ever had your own super moment?
Yes.
Anybody lifted a car?
No.
Jumped off a building?
Something cool.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
No,
Cool
so
moment.
I'm ready to hear. So
Yeah, I did a cool thing.
okay.
It's not like amazingly cool, but it lives in the super arena.
Okay.
Right?
Awesome.
So as a kid, we liked airsoft guns.
Nice.
And we'd go outside and just, shoot each other, shoot other stuff. It was a lot of fun. Played. Me and my buddy, my brother, Colin, we were outside in his land one time. We were just shooting airsoft pistols. And we were making bets on like if we could hit certain things. And I remember we were walking back to the house after a long day and there was these dragonflies flying around. And I was just like, dude, I'm going to shoot one of these guys out of the air. So I did a Wanted, that movie Wanted, wipe the gun.
Curve
I did
the bullet.
that midair and I fired. Next thing you know, the one I aimed at just dropped to the ground. And
That's amazing.
We were both like, what? And
Jaw
we looked
drop.
at each other for a while, just completely stunned. We walk over, and I kid you not, my BB had replaced the eyeball.
It's a nice shot.
Whoa.
And it
That's
stuck.
perfect.
It was
Yeah.
still there. So we kept it in a
What?
jar for like months.
as you should.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I don't know
awesome.
whatever happened to it after that, but we kept it for a long time to show
It's still
the
out
BB
there
was
somewhere.
stuck
Proof.
in
There's
the
still
eye.
there's still a jar with that.
That's
BB gun.
amazing.
Yeah, it's
That's a
the
great
most
story.
super thing I've ever
It's
Yeah,
the beginning
that's
of
awesome.
a super
That's awesome.
villain. It's BDI.
I thought I was Deadshot for a moment.
Yeah.
So-
or Bullseye.
that
Yeah,
story.
I was gonna say, we're both-
that story made me think of a story for mine.
Yeah.
So again, kid like you, at a friend's house. His name's Peter, and we're outside with some BB guns. And as most kids do, I'm just sitting there like pumping it as much as I possibly can. Right? Like
Yeah.
how much pressure can I get on this thing?
No,
Well,
yeah.
His mom comes out and is like, "Hey, it's time for dinner. You guys need to come in." And so now I've got this like over like pressured gun. I'm like, "What do I shoot?"
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, if I shoot anything in the yard, it's going to bounce back and hit me. So I just shot it straight in the air. I was like, yeah, whatever. We start walking and a bird just,
It's
so yeah, it's meant to be that we're here
Wow.
together.
That's awesome.
And that night they had dove.
Wow.
Definitely wasn't a dove.
He's not saying it, but it was a bald eagle.
That would be, I would remember that
Amazing.
story. Like,
You really overpumped it.
Wow. That's a great story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So when we were kids, there kid
Always
next door.
kids.
Yeah. True story. Yeah. True story here. Kid next door, there was a big tree, a big oak tree in the front yard. And my little sister, she was a little bit of a brat, but she was about 4 years old or so. I was about 10, 9, 10 years old. So that would have made her about 4.5, close to 5. She just recently had a birthday, by the way. So happy birthday. If you ever watch this. Anyway, So Robbie is her name. So Robbie, and the kid's name was Josh. And Josh was home alone, and we were home alone. I mean, that's how they did it back then, you know, all latchkey kids, you know.
So they even made a movie about it.
Yeah. So she decided to go climb the neighbor's tree. Josh comes out and goes, "Get out of my tree." And she's like, "No." You know, being a little brat. And she's trying to climb his tree, and he's like, "Get out of my tree." She's like, "No." So he tried to grab her foot, and she climbed up a little higher. So he runs in the house. He comes back out with this giant butcher knife. And he goes, and I'm just playing in my front yard, you know, playing G.I. Joe in the front yard.
Right.
And I see what's going on, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? So I run over there, and I'm like, "Hey, no. You know, like, leave my sister alone." He's like, "It's my tree." I was like, "That's my sister. Leave her alone." And let's just say, I watched Kung Fu Theater every Saturday.
Nice.
All day, you know?
Yes.
Kung Fu Theater. It was a special thing. And anyway.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was. So, you know, and my name's Lee. So Bruce Lee. Anyway. So he comes at me. He faces off with me with the butcher knife. And I take a stance. And so I'm just like, you know, and he's like, and so he just kind of starts poking at me with a knife. And on one of those pokes, I step up and I kick it, and it comes out of his hand. It flips towards me. I step back and it flies past me, but I don't look at the knife. I just look at him, and the knife just flies right past me, and it sticks in the ground. And I turn around and I look at the knife. I pick it up out of the ground. And then I walk over and I said, "Do you want to try that again?" And he flips out. He's like, "That's not fair. You know karate." And ran inside. And it was probably the coolest moment of my life. You know, it's like the coolest, like, that was awesome. Yeah. And so when his mother got home, I gave her the butcher knife, told her story, and he got his butt beat, you know, black and blue.
He had a superhero beating.
Yeah, super beating.
World class.
But yeah, saved my little sister from the
cool
knife
story.
holding number.
Yeah.
So anyway,
You're my hero.
Yeah.
I played that slow motion in my head when he's told
I
the
know,
story.
right?
I did.
Thanks.
I was waiting for you to like kick the knife back in the air. Like,
No,
Or catch it.
that's a little too super. I mean, but
I just
No, that's a cool story.
imagined you as a kid being that nonchalant with it. Hey, no.
yeah, I was like, "What are you doing? Like, leave my sister alone."
That's great.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I guess a lot of kids would have screamed and run and like, "Yeah, Mom."
Actually, when you said you were playing G.I. Joes, I was like, "Oh, this dude threw a G.I. Joe across the yard and knocked
That's
him
what I
out."
was
That would have
thinking.
been
That's what I was
awesome.
thinking.
That would have been
Yeah.
awesome. No,
Yeah.
didn't.
No, yours was cooler.
It's like a dead shot moment.
Yeah, all of us.
Yeah.
What about Eric?
Did everybody go?
Yeah.
Oh, you man.
It's you, my man.
Come on.
Have you ever had a super moment?
What about a supernatural moment?
No.
No. Okay.
The only thing I can think of
Different
is like
podcast, bro.
we're. So I was with some youth. We had gone to the movies. We saw one of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies that had just come out.
Michael Bay.
And it was late. We lived way far away from the theater, and we're driving down a road where there's hardly any traffic. And then I noticed there are flashing lights as hazard lights, but they're not horizontal. They're vertical.
Weird.
And I said, "All right, slow down." You know, because we were booking it, we were going pretty quick. And sure enough, it was somebody's work truck, and they had tried to dodge a deer, and swerving, one of the tires on the front busted off, flew, who knows where,
Yeah.
and that truck went sliding.
Probably went up and hit a bird.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or dragonfly.
There's like $10,000 worth of tools all over the road. This man is standing on the side of the road with a giant gash in his head, just kind of bleeding everywhere. So we're like, stop. Those guys are picking up tools, and not, you know, I had an undershirt because I sweat a lot. So I like took off that extra shirt, you know, like, here, let's stop the bleeding.
Yeah.
Kind of a moment.
Yeah.
And the guy was like, I guess he was in shock. He had no idea. He's got this giant hole in his head. He's like, I don't know what happened. I tried to swerve away from that deer. Still, I mean, I'm looking everywhere for this tire. I'm thinking it's broken off and flown off into some field somewhere. I mean, to this day, unless they've repaved it, you can see the giant
Gash
scrape in the gash in the road from where he went sliding. And I don't know how, like, he bounced his head off the of something and it split him open. But we got him. We called 911. They came and got him, and then after they came and cleaned up his truck and stuff, we went to the hospital to make sure he was okay.
That is a super moment.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say you pushed the truck over or something.
Oh yeah.
He did start it with that kind of.
I was like, whoa, what's
No,
happening?
it was more
He took
of
off his undershirt.
let's
That
stop
was
this-
his superpower.
I stopped the bleeding.
Yeah.
There you go. With his undershirt.
He did
Yeah.
the Superman jaked off.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
like,
there you go.
No.
I'll give you the shirt off my own back.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a good super moment.
Yeah. That's
Okay, so we're coming up to the end here, but we're going to quick fire this last one.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
So, if you had one super ability, what would it be?
I think does everybody already know theirs pretty well?
Yeah.
'Cause I mean, I asked this so
I
many
think so.
times, and
Well, it's always funny. People say stuff, and this question always bugs me because people are like, super speed. And it's like, okay, cool. But what if you're traveling at 200 miles an hour and you hit a bug? Like, or
you
a bird,
trip.
or you trip, you're dead. Like, so they were like, well, no, I'll have like healing abilities and superpower. That's other superpowers.
Yeah.
Or like super strength.
said
I'm like, I'm
one.
super strength. Okay, but what if somebody shoots you? Like, well, I'm strong, but can I stop bullets? Like, that's a different superpower, indestructibility. So,
That's why I win.
yeah.
yeah, mine
All right.
mine is one of the most superior abilities ever. I only need one, and it's telekinesis.
I like telekinesis.
Telekinesis.
Telekinesis in comic book form. Now, there's different variations of this. So
Are we saying like Dr. X here?
I'm talking
Dr. X.
No,
Oh, that's a whole bunch. Yeah.
Did you like that?
So
Disgracing the professor.
Doctor,
Yeah.
mine. The way I've always thought this worked and the way I liked it in the comics works more like the series of Chronicle than it does anything else.
okay.
Okay, cool.
Gotcha.
So what this allows you to do is not only can you move things and mind meld and things like that, but you can actually change atoms and mass
Okay.
and stuff around you. So it will allow you to fly because you can just carry yourself into the air. It would allow you to stop bullets because you can literally form
Gotcha.
a density around you from the atmosphere
Yeah.
that would stop bullets.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
to me, that telekinesis ability
That version of
is
telekinesis.
the best because I
Yeah.
could lift anything because I'd be super strong. I could
Yep.
do all of it
Yeah.
with my mind. That
Yeah.
would be
Mind powers.
my favorite.
What am I thinking right now?
Tacos.
That's
He wins.
Tacos.
wow.
Yeah.
I think that's what we're all thinking.
Your
right now.
super ability is
It's always tacos. Dude, if I could make a taco,
Just make taco show
I
up.
changed my answer.
I can make tacos.
That would be amazing.
Mine was the healing factor, like Wolverine.
Yeah, I like healing.
I thought about like, some people say, well, I want to be super strong, like, basically invincible, like Superman or whatever like that. And
Yeah.
like, where's the fun? Like Wolverine experiences pain, he experiences life, and like he has to wrestle through all that, but he's able to heal. So it doesn't mean he doesn't. So he gets the experience with the ability to
Right.
heal faster from it. So I'm like, dude, I would love that. It would force me to be. I've been told that I'm not very adventurous. You're like. You just like to be and not go anywhere. I'm like, all right, maybe it would force me to be more adventurous, because I know I'm gonna heal. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm jumping off this building because I can.
I'm gonna say mine, and it's gonna show how lazy I am. I would love just like teleporting.
Yeah.
Just like,
Yeah, like jumper.
man, I really could go for a Buc-ee's drink right now. Poof,
Yeah.
Buc-ee's.
That would be amazing.
But then, like, you could lift things too. You just like grab whatever, teleport, move it where you need it, and then
That's true.
Nightcrawler was one of my favorites growing up.
yeah,
yeah.
Nightcrawler.
I
kind
appreciate the
of feel.
teleport stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's me. And again, it's mostly because I'm lazy. I'm like, man, I would love to go to Florida.
So
Florida.
I know this.
Like I wouldn't even use it for superpower things. Like it totally would be.
I want to
just
know.
laziness.
I want to know from your experience with all the things that we've seen in television with teleporting in movies. What version of teleporting would you have? What would the thing look like?
Yeah.
Because
When you leave.
okay.
Yeah.
I want to know which one are you picking?
I don't know. I don't know. I was gonna say jumper, but that's
Yeah.
too much. Yeah. I think
Everything you're saying makes me think of that.
Yeah, it leans towards jumper.
It kind of has almost like it bends matter in the room and then pops back
Yeah,
out.
and it pops back out.
Yeah.
Yeah. The problem with that is then
You mess up your
you
room.
mess up every time you go somewhere. It's like, no, I'm thinking. Okay, heroes.
Yep.
What I can't remember the guy's name. Hero.
Yeah, you just disappear.
He just like he'd disappear and he's back.
like
Yeah.
Looper.
Yeah, which his was time travel kind of thing, but I mean he could just So I think that's how you just pop and gone. There's no like blow up the room.
The two that I like a lot because of the
Now
way
we're
they
back to
designed.
tacos.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. The two I liked the most was the Umbrella Academy. The way he did it was super cool. Love that. And then I loved the way they do it evaporating in Harry Potter. The little
the
house elves can they look
a
like
little
a
snap
twisted
popping.
pretzel and then they disappear.
Yeah.
It's great.
All right, Lee, what you got?
Everybody's gonna think I'm being cheesy, but I'm serious. I think being a Christian and like knowing God and being able to operate at that level. I know everybody's thinking I'm so cheesy.
I know it's not that.
But
you made me laugh,
it's
but
this
for a
face over
different
here.
reason. I immediately thought of Bible Man. I was like, Lee is gonna
not
be
Bible Man.
This is
Not
salty
Bible
over
Man.
here.
Bible Man.
Salty.
Yeah.
Or
It's great.
Larry the Cucumber. I am that hero. But seriously, like going through life and like knowing when God speaks and listening to him and doing what he tells you to do. Like I've had some crazy experiences in my life because of that and seen him do some amazing things. And so like being connected to the God of the universe and having him speak to you and like direct your paths. I don't know. To me, that's kind of like that is a superpower, and it's something we can, as Christians, can have and experience.
Yeah.
So I know I went all deep there at the end, but sorry.
Okay, I gotta take us back to fun real quick, just because
Okay.
we
Yes.
can't end on a deep thing. I love the deep thing, but we can't end on a deep thing.
I was gonna connect this to the
Stop
Watcher.
it! Stop it!
I was gonna say
know
for
what you're
those
saying.
of you listening, if you know the Watcher from comic books,
Okay,
it's like
I'm gonna
you have a
ask-
direct
I'm gonna ask one
relationship with
question.
that.
That's right. And you have one answer. No explanation. You just throw the answer out, and we're gonna move on. All right. For people listening, people watching, what is one superhero or comic that they need to check out?
Oh,
Flashpoint.
yeah.
Flashpoint. Okay.
I'm going to go old school Christian here. Archangels, the Archangel series. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of it or
Archangel?
seen it, but Archangel series, it's great.
Okay.
Spawn.
Spawn. It's a good one. I'm going to say Sandman.
Nice.
Okay.
All right, we did it.
So, yeah, I think that.
Yeah. So if you are a fan of superheroes and you have a favorite superhero or superhero movie, maybe you have a least favorite, you know what to do. Put them in the comments. We want to see it. Also, what would your ability be? Like, would you go down in history books like Lee and be the most cheesy answer ever and be a super Christian? Or would you be like Wolverine?
Wow.
Get some healing going on.
down.
But anyways, we'll check you next time on the 4THOUGHT podcast. Peace out.
I'm Batman.